Hey there everybody, Charlie with NHORC. Today I'm coming at you with an unboxing and first look at the Losi LMT 1/18th scale monster truck. This is the Son of a Digger model. This has been a really hotly ordered item. Everybody's real excited about this. Losi seems to be coming in just with non-stop hits lately. So we're gonna unbox this guy. This is basically the first shipment that my local hobby shop, RC Excitement, got in. And we're gonna pop this thing open. This box is real cool. This would look real good as a gift under the tree for Christmas in a few days. However, you probably aren't gonna be able to find any of these since they are just sold out everywhere. So this is a full RTR 2S. And we're going to take a look. So let's get it open. Interestingly, two of the zip ties were already cut. That's a little odd. All right, we'll leave the best for last. So start off with, we've got the little transmitter here. This is a little baby transmitter. SLT2 from Spectrum. Nice little 2-channel, no controls on the top, real straightforward. Does have throttle limiters on the side, a little bit of steering trim, knobs, sensitivity. Feels pretty good for such a little transmitter. Doesn't stand up on its own, really. Ooh, maybe? Okay, kind of does. It's a little wobbly on its own. All right, so we've got the new and revised USB Spectrum charger here. So this is going to be USB-C powered to charge the LiPo. We've got a tiny IC2 to EC2 connector here in the box with the manual, and then some batteries, a jumper of some kind, and a wheel tool. All right, and getting into the truck, so like I said, it's a little weird. The front end was not tied down, so maybe that just came out during shipping. I'm not sure. I'm gonna clip the other two. Oh, and even, actually, only one of the zip ties was all the way done. Interesting. That's a little concerning. I'm wondering, looking at these ties, they've all just snapped. I wonder if that's just snapping in the cold from shipping. So get the truck out here. What are we tied? Got our little backdrop here if you want to keep a little display for it. All right, we've got it out on the mat here. It looks like there's a little protective piece right here for some reason. Not sure why. I do see a couple little scuffs on the paint. That's probably from the zip ties coming undone. So let's see. All right, so it is a little cold. So my suspension fluid is probably a little thick. My garage is not heated, but boy, this thing looks really nice. So looking at that really nice custom graphic across the side, Son of a Digger. Obviously, the driver of this truck is the son of the Gravedigger truck. As far as why I went with the Son of a Digger versus the Gravedigger, I'm not like a huge monster truck fan. I've been to a few in my day, back when I was younger, but mostly it came down to that all the trim was painted blue instead of that neon green, and I think the blue will be a little bit easier to paint over because I am going to be doing a custom NHORC themed monster truck here, so I'm going to have to paint all of the chassis and the rims and everything, I think probably white. I'm going to go with a new livery. It's not going to be the white with the black hood like it usually is. It's going to be something new that I've been doing. If you follow me on Instagram, NH_operator, you'll probably know what paint job I'm going to do because I use it on all of my Gran Turismo cars. So looking at this thing, really cool blue headlights. That was another reason I wanted the Son of a Digger, because I'll need the blue headlights. Really nice. These feel like they're just air-filled. I don't feel any foam in there. They're definitely vented. You can hear them venting. Flip it over. Get some nice open diffs. That seems to all be functioning well. I have read some things online about some quality control issues that Losi seems to be having. The main things, sorry, I'm recovering from the flu or something, so if you hear me cough and it sounds a little different, that's why. Anyway, I've seen some posts online from people who've got these in this first batch that there's a few things. One, sometimes the diffs are not quite right. There was one guy who was posting that they were literally just like wouldn't spin the other side at all. Drive shaft's not moving. And then the other one was the front servo, or the steering servo apparently may need to be rebound potentially, as well as a couple people posting missing screws right out of the box. This doesn't seem to have any of those problems, so that's good. So let's see what's under the hood. So to get this off, this has a really neat little clipless body system. So there's 3 of these little turn knobs here. You just spin them. One here, and one there. And that should allow us to just flip the top up, maybe, if I got it right. They're going to be very exact. Okay, so if you're off by even a little bit, it doesn't go. Now that's a nice design right there. Just pops way open. Oh, there's even a little driver in there. I didn't realize that. You've got the driver in there too, with even a little decal on his helmet. That's a nice little. No, that's a weird bubble. That's a nice little bonus detail there that I didn't notice initially. So opening this up, the LiPo comes pre-installed in the truck. Now, if you're new to RCs and this is your first one, please take this out of the truck before charging it. You don't want any real problems, but these should just pop right off using these rubber strappies. Usually these come with at least a little bit of charge as well. So we might fire it up a little bit on the bench here. There's a little Scale fuel cell in the back. Again, that's a 50C 2S LiPo, and then a 2-in-1 ESC and receiver for that Spectrum transmitter. So this thing looks really nice. I really like all these little scale details. We've even got exhaust headers sticking out. That's kind of wobbly. Huh. They're both a little wobbly. Got some Scale decal stickers here. These tires look just amazing. Absolute replicas, giant monster truck ag tires. And then we've got a little brushed motor in there. So this is going to be a very good starting point, I think, for a lot of people that are new into RCs and maybe are into the monster truck scene, but aren't necessarily into the RC scene. It's relatively affordable. $269.99 MSRP, I believe. Yes, $269.99 MSRP. Now, if you're new, you're like, oh, that's a lot of money for a toy, right? So this is what we refer to in the hobby as a hobby grade RC, right? This is not a toy grade. A toy grade is something you get from Walmart. If something breaks, you generally just throw the whole thing away. This is entirely modular. You can replace any part on here. If something breaks, right, you blow a servo, you just, Spectrum is one of the biggest names in RCs, you just throw a new one in there. Blow the motor, same thing, you pop it out, pop it in. It's all very workable. So, we're gonna pop this closed. I'm gonna put the batteries in the receiver, the transmitter, and we're gonna zip it around on the desk here a little bit, and then we'll move somewhere else. If this is your first time with RCs, always try to get in the habit of turning the controller on first. This one has this little button right here. Push that on, that'll become red. And then this has the power button where did I see it? The power button is way up under here, right there. There we go. So now we've got it on. We've got those blue headlights. Let's try out the steering. Okay, so I don't have the issue some people are having. Some folks are having an issue where it wouldn't have the proportional steering, meaning you'd give it any input and it would just full lock. So I've got a good one. That's good. I definitely have a steering trim issue. I'm turning way further to the right. Let's see, my steering is way out of whack. So if you've got weird issues, with it not like pointing straight. You can turn these. You can see that turns it. Interestingly, mine is trimmed very far to one side already, so I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume that the servo horn's probably not on correctly and pick it up. So to start, if you want to hand this to a child, this is a throttle limiter knob or a switch, which you can reduce the top speed to 50% down from 100, which is nice. Oh, that's got some speed. Wow. Whoa. All right, let's go take this somewhere a little bigger. Oh! Yeah! Oh, you got nice. Can you flip it? Good job. Gonna do a flip, okay? Get out of the way. You ready? Yeah. Wow. Ellie, do you like this truck?
Yeah.
Yeah? It's Ellie approved?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. All right, everybody. So, interjecting from RC Excitement here, the hangover crawl. If you haven't seen it, video up in the corner. Running the Losi LMT Mini here at RC Excitement while we're waiting for some of the other things to go on. So I figured I'd just give you guys a size comparison. I know that's something a lot of people want to see. So obviously we've got the 18th scale Losi LMT Mini, Son Uva Digger. So next to it we have a TRX4M High Trail. So that's the one with the lift kit on it already. Next to that we've got a stock TRX4 Bronco. TRX4M Bronco, so the rims are replaced but completely stock other than that, including the tires. Then if you go the other way, we've got my SCX24. This is on a stock chassis. Well, it's stock frame, but it is like open class with pretty big tires. And then we've got another SCX24. Sorry, if I said TRX4M, this is SCX24. And then another SCX24 with the Ingenora rock buggy chassis on it. All right, and your side profile shot here. So Losi LMT Mini, Son Uva Digger, TRX4M High Trail, TRX4M Bronco, SCX24 on stock frame rails, and an SCX24 rock buggy. And if for some reason you want a size comparison to some of your standard 10th scale crawlers, we've got a TRX4 Sport here, totally stock. All right, and then the last comparison, get the Losi LMT Mini 1/18th scale versus the 10th scale LMT. So this one's obviously not mine, this is RC Excitement's, but yeah, the Losi LMT Mini is so much smaller. This thing is just so big. I mean, you can, you know, get a good size comparison for it there. You know, not that these two are in the same category, but, you know. All right, crawling. Who needs locked diffs? Apparently, people want to go uphill.
It's actually a steer.
Yeah, it's got a lot of steering, yeah.
you high centered.
So my thoughts on it after 15 plus battery packs through it, which each battery pack, if you're not going flat out, will easily last you 30-45 minutes under what I would consider normal usage for this. So that's pretty good, you know. I mean, if you're flat out running it outside, yeah, it's gonna last shorter. But you know, I'm doing like scale jumps and stuff with this thing, and you know, it seems to last at least 30 minutes most times. So first up, the controller. Final thoughts on the controller here. It's fine for what it is, but it's not particularly durable. It now has this rattle. Something inside of it's loose. No idea what. Everything still seems to work on it at the moment, but that's not ideal, and it drives me nuts that it falls over. Like, even with batteries in it, it will stand up, but it leans to one side, or like this side, it like basically won't even stand up. So I don't understand why they beveled the bottom of that. Honestly, that's probably my biggest complaint with this truck out of the box. So moving on to the truck itself, as you saw, I bashed this in a number of environments. I bashed it in my living room. I bashed it, you know, in the RC Excitement's off-road track. I bashed it. You know, I didn't go like real outside and get it super dirty because I knew I wanted to be able to run this in the house. That's kind of what I bought it for, was something fun to do inside the house. So for what it is trying to do, it's amazing, right? So as you saw earlier, it doesn't rock crawl. If you bought this thinking it was a rock crawler, I don't know what's wrong with you. I did it because it was there and it was fun. But yeah, wide open diffs, it's not going to crawl. But other than that, it does absolutely everything you would want it to. You know, during the rock crawling, I took some of the paint off. You can see here, some of the paint came off these rims a little bit. That'll probably happen, particularly if you are driving it outside in real rocks. I'm going to probably end up painting these anyway when I redo the main livery. So that's, you know, whatever. Durability. So we're going to start with durability. I think if you were doing what you should be doing with this thing is a tank. Now, it's small and it's really fast, so it is very capable to just absolutely send this thing to the moon. You know, you can hit a ramp and send this thing 20 feet into the air. Now, if you were scaling that up to a real monster truck, right, it'd be like jumping a skyscraper. So of course it's going to break if you send it to the moon and drop it and, you know, land not on your wheels from 20 feet up. but for like real monster truck stuff, if you're doing scale monster truck stuff, this thing is indestructible in my experience so far. I have landed this thing in every possible miserable orientation, and it just keeps going. So I saw a lot of people saying they'd cracked up the front grille. I'm actually very impressed with the design. So they've got this big silver grille, and right behind it is the aluminum chassis bars. So if you land on that, it just pushes into there and nothing happens. I think these are probably the most likely spot to get broken if you were to come down kind of right in that very narrow gap, but I haven't had that happen yet. So that end's totally solid. If you land on the wheels, there's no problem. If you land on the top, it's got that internal roll cage that goes all the way up into the body, and that doesn't seem to care. Like, obviously it's not as good as landing on the suspension, but you know, none of the electronics seem to care. And then what I'm probably the most impressed with here is this wheelie bar. So I haven't moved this wheelie bar. I haven't done anything over the course of this review. Been running it for about 2 weeks now. This wheelie bar seems to be just completely indestructible. The number of times I landed this thing like this, just straight onto the wheelie bar with absolutely no suspension give, is amazing. And this thing is not even showing signs of wear at all. Like, it looks pretty much brand new, like the day I opened it, which is in this video, and just everything is rock solid. There's no stress fractures, right? Sometimes you'll get those kind of like white lines on plastic as it's getting ready to break. There's none of that. It's just holding together, and the fact that it's bolted to an aluminum subframe, you know, the aluminum chassis plates here, mean that like it's not going to break further up. If it breaks, this is going to break, and then you just buy a new wheelie bar, or you run it with no wheelie bar. I will say, if you run it with no wheelie bar, you're almost certainly going to destroy the body over here on each side, because that'll be what hits first. But with the wheelie bar on, absolutely great. A+ for durability. You know, the body's got some scratches to be expected. That's going to vary heavily dependent on, you know, what kind of surface you're running. If you're running on pavement and you flip it over, you're going to get a lot of scratches. I'm mostly running on carpet, so mine's pretty much brand new looking. I will say, I noticed, and some other people noticed looking at it, that this body appears to be crooked and a little shunted to one side, so I've looked at that very carefully. These screws are not quite lined up properly. So the reason that's sideways is because these screws are just slightly off center to one side. So hopefully when I get my other body, I can fix that and make sure I put those screws in the right spot. Not a big deal, only really noticeable from the back. All right, we're going to open it up and talk about the internals. On the way to opening it up, I will say probably my biggest nitpick, other than the controller not standing upright on its own, are these clipless body clips. So they're kind of great in theory, but they're kind of fiddly in practice. So first off, you got to make sure you have all of them just dead center and open, and then even still, they're all dead center right now, and it still won't open because this one is leaning backwards. So you got to push it forwards a little bit, and sometimes you got to do both at once. Or you gotta like pull the whole thing. See, like this is what I'm talking about. Like it's, that one's just a little bit off. So I think maybe these should be, these holes should be enlarged slightly to make it a little, you know, harder to mess it up. And then when you're closing it, similarly, this happens all the time where the Lexan hits that first, and if you forget and you're trying to pull from the front, you can really kind of ding your Lexan up a little bit. So getting these in and out, a little fiddly. I prefer this to body clips, but I'd prefer maybe like a Traxxas clipless body system to this system. Now, on the inside, again, no damage of any visible kind anywhere inside the upper half. No damage visible literally anywhere. You know, the shocks are all fine. I've seen some people put limiting straps on them because they're pulling the shock caps out. So that is something quite a few people are reporting, but I haven't had any problems. I'm kind of assuming the people who are needing to do that are also the ones sending it to the moon. Just way bigger than you probably should be sending it. So But no problems there. I've had absolutely no electrical problems at all. I will say I did revert back to mounting the battery with the logo up and the wire curved around on the side because it kind of got stuck down here if I ran it the other way. I also think that these battery straps are actually part of the suspension system for when you land upside down. Because when you land upside down, they have a little give. That way it doesn't just slam the battery into, you know, the ceiling over here if you land fully on your roof. But, you know, very impressed with it overall. You know, this connector is certainly annoying and fiddly, but, you know, this is a small rig. I'm not really sure how they make that better. Yeah, I absolutely love this thing. I cannot recommend this thing higher. I mean, even if you're not a huge monster truck guy, but you do like to bash, and you're willing to not send this thing way beyond what it should be doing, it's super duper fun. Yeah, I mean, just everything I've been doing with it, I was kind of expecting to break it with what I was doing, and nothing broke, which is great. Not even like Lexan cracks. So very durable, assuming you keep it in, you know, the right scale bashing, you know, kind of mode. I will say I actually don't even think the motor needs as much power as it has. A lot of the times I've actually been keeping this on the 75% throttle, particularly on indoors and smaller areas. I mean, I'm not going to say they should take it away, but I think it wouldn't have been underpowered even if they'd gone a little lighter on the electronics. I think it probably still would be fine. I'm not sure really why people are putting brushless systems in this thing and LCG mounts. I think that kind of defeats the purpose of this level of scale. It doesn't need more power. It's got exactly as much power as it needs, if not a little more than it needs. And B, if you do something like LCG it's not going to handle and flip and bounce like a real monster truck anymore, because real monster trucks, I think they did a pretty darn good job of balancing this like a real one, because, you know, like I said, I watched some videos of Monster Jam, and the trucks bounce almost exactly the same as the real truck. So I think if you're going to LCG it, I don't really think that's worth the time, in my opinion. I will say, other than the body paint job, which is going to come, the one thing I really want to do, but I'm not sure if I'm going to yet, is I really want to do rear wheel steer, which I know there's already one YouTuber out there who's done it. It's surprisingly easy. You don't even need the whole rear axle. You just replace these end pieces with the stuff from the front, and then you can literally bolt the servo onto the rear just like you would the front. So it's like a dead matchup if you want to go four-wheel steer. The problem with that is once you go four-wheel steer, you have to replace the transmitter, which means you have to replace the ESC and the receiver. As far as the big question, is it worth the money, right? I've seen some people saying it's overpriced. $269.99 for an 18 scale does seem like a lot. This thing is really good though. Like, it's well thought out, it's well designed, it's, in my opinion, bomb proof for what you should be doing with it. I think, like, would I appreciate it being cheaper? Sure, yes, absolutely, but I don't think it's overpriced at $269.99. I think it's a ton of fun. It's a great entry to the hobby grade RC. For pretty much anybody, because I mean, like, even if you're not into monster trucks, you still have fun driving a monster truck around your living room, you know. Yeah, I think it's you know, overall, it's maybe not a 10 out of 10, but it's like a 9.5 out of 10 from Losi here. So, you know, there's very minor things that maybe a V2 revision can do, like making these body clips a little less fiddly. Like, really, you want a 10 out of 10 it from Losi? Make a stock electronics version with four-wheel steering. Because that would be super, super cool. Like, I'd pay an extra, you know, I'd love to see them bump up to maybe $300 for a four-wheel steer version. I totally would have bought that one if that was available, because that would have been super fun. But yeah, absolutely great. Absolutely no issues recommending this to basically anybody. You know, younger kids, as long as they can run the remote, will probably be fine with it. Like, the diffs are wide open. Like, I held like 3 of the tires and spun it, and like I didn't blow the rubber off the one that was spinning. Like, it's pretty indestructible. for a little RC. So hopefully you've enjoyed this unboxing, run footage, and review video. If this has helped you, please like, please subscribe. If you have questions, put them in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer any of them if I can. And yeah, just hopefully I see you again. Hopefully you come back to the channel, and have a nice day. I'll see you later, YouTube.